There are voices in history that refuse to fade. Voices that rose from pain, from struggle, and from truth, and still echo through time. One of those voices belonged to a man who transformed anger into awareness, ignorance into education, and oppression into empowerment. His name was Malcolm X. Born Malcolm Little in 1925, he grew up in a world that tried to silence him. His father was killed when Malcolm was a child, and his mother was institutionalized. By his teenage years, Malcolm had turned to the streets and eventually landed in prison. But it was there, in confinement, that his transformation began. He educated himself, reading every book he could find, and emerged as one of America's most powerful voices for justice, dignity, and human rights. His words continue to ignite minds and awaken courage across generations. Malcolm once said, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." To him, learning wasn't about degrees or diplomas. It was about power, the kind of power that comes from awareness. He believed that if you truly want to change your tomorrow, you must start preparing for it today, with your mind as your greatest weapon. He reminded us, if you have no critics, you'll likely have no success. Every great dreamer, every fighter for truth, every person who dares to stand tall will be criticized. Malcolm taught that criticism is not a sign of failure, but a sign that you are doing something worth noticing. He said again, with conviction, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Those words weren't just for a movement. They were for every individual who dreams of something greater. The seeds you plant now, in your actions, your discipline, your courage, will grow into your future. Malcolm's strength came from his principles. He believed, a man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. He reminded us that if you don't define what you believe in, the world will define it for you. Stand for truth. Stand for justice. Stand for something bigger than yourself, or risk falling for everything that tries to distract you. And one of his most human lessons, don't be in a hurry to condemn because he doesn't do what you do or think as you think. There was a time when you didn't know what you know today. That was Malcolm at his most humble, teaching empathy through experience. He knew that knowledge comes with patience, and that true strength lies not in judging others, but in helping them grow. The story of Malcolm X doesn't end with inspiration. It grows stronger with every word he spoke. Because Malcolm didn't just teach people how to dream, he taught them how to fight for their dignity. His voice wasn't an echo. It was a thunderclap that demanded the world to listen. He reminded humanity that peace, justice, and truth are not given freely. They are earned through courage. In his later years, Malcolm X began to evolve beyond labels. After his pilgrimage to Mecca, he saw a broader truth, that humanity's strength lies not in division, but in dignity. He traveled, he observed, and he realized that true power begins with self-acceptance. He was no longer just speaking for a race or a nation. He was speaking for the human spirit, for every person who has ever been told they are less than they are. That's why his next lessons cut deep. They were about strength, self-worth, and the courage to rise above your past. Malcolm once said, "You can't separate peace from freedom, because no one can be at peace unless he has his freedom." To him, peace without freedom was only silence, not harmony. He believed that no man, no nation, and no soul could rest easy while living under injustice. Real peace, Malcolm said, begins when you have control over your own destiny. And with unshakable conviction, he said, if you're not ready to die for it, put the word freedom out of your vocabulary. Those weren't just words, they were a challenge. He believed that freedom was not something to wish for, it was something to fight for. Because only when you value your principles more than your comfort, do you truly understand what freedom means. He said, I'm for truth, no matter who tells it. I'm for justice, no matter who it's for or against. He wasn't loyal to sides, he was loyal to truth. That's what made him powerful. He saw beyond color, beyond religion, beyond politics, and spoke for humanity. One of his most personal lessons was, there is no better teacher than adversity. Malcolm didn't just survive hardship, he learned from it. Every loss, every rejection, every wound taught him something no classroom could. He believed pain refines the spirit, and that the fire of struggle purifies greatness. And once again, he returned to his core belief. Without education, you're not going anywhere in this world. Because to Malcolm, knowledge was the key that unlocked every locked door. He believed that true freedom begins in the mind, and that ignorance was the greatest enemy of progress. He taught that books can be your wings, and ideas can make you unstoppable. Malcolm once said, "We cannot think of being acceptable to others until we have first proven acceptable to ourselves." He believed that before seeking validation from the world, we must first find peace within. Self-respect was his foundation, because only when you believe in your worth will the world begin to see it too. Malcolm's message was clear: you don't need the world's approval to rise, you need your own. With unshakable conviction, he reminded us, power never takes a back step, only in the face of more power. To him, strength wasn't arrogance, it was awareness. He taught that injustice doesn't retreat by itself. It moves only when confronted by greater courage, unity, and conviction. Power respects power, and Malcolm urged people to rise with knowledge, confidence, and purpose. Then he spoke words that challenged blind loyalty. You're not supposed to be so blind with patriotism that you can't face reality. Wrong is wrong, no matter who does it or says it. That was Malcolm, fearless in truth. He believed that love for one's country should never silence the love for justice. He taught that real patriotism means standing for what is right, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's unpopular. And with compassion, he said, to have once been a criminal is no disgrace. To remain a criminal is the disgrace. Malcolm spoke from experience. He had walked through darkness and rebuilt himself through discipline and knowledge. He believed that redemption is always possible, that every person can rise again, no matter their past. His life itself was proof that the power to change is the greatest power of all. And then, one of his most uplifting truths, stumbling is not falling. Simple, yet powerful. Malcolm taught that mistakes don't define you. How you rise after them does. Every stumble, every setback, is just a pause before the next step forward. Because resilience, not perfection, is what builds greatness. Malcolm X's words were not written from comfort. They were born from pain, growth, and revelation. He reminded us that strength begins with self-respect, that courage begins with truth, and that redemption begins when we stop running from our past. His legacy is not only in the speeches he gave, but in the fire he left inside every person who ever refused to give up. Because as Malcolm taught, stumbling isn't falling, it's just the beginning of rising again. Every great leader faces a turning point, a moment when the fire of conviction meets the light of understanding. For Malcolm X, that turning point came when he realized that real change doesn't start in speeches or streets, it starts in the mind. He had stumbled, yes, but he had risen stronger, wiser, and more human than ever. His words began to carry not just power, but compassion. He wasn't only fighting for freedom anymore. He was teaching people how to free themselves from within. By the last years of his life, Malcolm X had become more than an activist. He had become a bridge between worlds. He spoke of equality beyond color, of dignity beyond division. He believed that if people learned to respect themselves, they could respect others too. His message was transforming, no longer fueled by anger, but by enlightenment. These next lessons reveal the heart of that transformation. The wisdom of a man who learned that peace, truth, and understanding begin inside us all. Malcolm once repeated with conviction, "The future is for those who prepare for it today." He knew that destiny. He also said, "Be peaceful, be courteous, obey the law, respect everyone. But if someone puts his hand on you, send him to the cemetery." That line wasn't about violence, it was about dignity. Malcolm taught that peace must never be mistaken for weakness. He believed that while kindness is strength, self-respect must never be surrendered. It was a message of balance, peace with pride, patience with power. In another powerful reflection, he said, "Usually when people are sad, they don't do anything. They just cry over their condition. But when they get angry, they bring about a change." To Malcolm, anger was energy, raw, real, and capable of transformation. He didn't glorify rage. He transformed it into purpose. He believed that the fire inside you can destroy or rebuild, and that the choice is always yours. Malcolm reminded us of unity when he said, "You can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree." He was talking about identity, about knowing where you come from. He believed that denying your history means denying your strength. For Malcolm, roots were not just ancestry. They were the foundation of pride, growth, and belonging. And with deep faith, he declared, "I believe in a religion that believes in freedom." For him, spirituality was not about walls or labels. It was about liberation. He believed that true faith uplifts, unites, and awakens the human spirit. Religion, to Malcolm, was not a cage. It was a compass pointing toward justice and love. Malcolm once declared, "Change is never given to you freely. You have to fight for it." He knew that freedom is not a gift. It's a victory earned through courage, persistence, and sacrifice. He taught that real change begins when you refuse to accept things as they are. Because the world only changes when ordinary people decide they've had enough. He reminded us, a man is judged by his deeds, not by his words. Malcolm lived those words. He wasn't just a speaker. He was an example. He believed that true greatness isn't in what you promise, but in what you do, even when no one is watching. His life was his message. Integrity is action in motion. Malcolm's voice thundered with conviction when he said, "Truth is on the side of the oppressed." He believed that no matter how dark the night, truth stands beside those who fight for justice. He taught that you can silence a man, but never the truth he stands for. And as history has shown, the oppressed have always carried truth's torch, even when the world tried to put it out. He also warned, you can't drive a knife into a man's back 9 inches, pull it out 6 inches, and call it progress. It was one of his sharpest truths, a call to honesty. Malcolm taught that partial justice is still injustice, and that progress means nothing if it ignores pain. He demanded not half-truths, not half-measures, but real change, born of courage and compassion. And finally, he declared, the only way we'll get freedom for ourselves is to identify ourselves with every oppressed people in the world. That was Malcolm's ultimate evolution, from a voice for one community to a voice for all humanity. He believed that freedom anywhere strengthens freedom everywhere. That when one group rises, all can rise. In those final years, Malcolm X had become not just a man of America, but a citizen of the world. Malcolm X's journey was not perfect. It was powerful. He began as a man searching for meaning and ended as a man who gave meaning to millions. He taught that transformation is possible, that education is liberation. His life was a mirror of courage, a reminder that no matter where you start, you can rise, rebuild, and redefine yourself. Malcolm's legacy lives not just in history books, but in every voice that dares to speak against injustice, in every mind that chooses to think freely, and in every heart that refuses to stay silent. So remember his words. Education is the passport to the future. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today. And as long as we keep learning, questioning, and standing tall, Malcolm's dream will live on. Because the fire he lit still burns within us all. If Malcolm X's journey inspired you today, don't let it end here. Share this story, keep his message alive, and remember, every great change begins with one brave voice. This is History Motivates, where stories from the past light the fire for the future.